They look like ordinary nickels, but hidden within the 1964, 1972, and 1979 U.S. nickel series are rare errors so valuable they've turned pocket change into small fortunes. Could you be holding one of these overlooked treasures? From dramatic misstrikes to nearly invisible minting mistakes, some of these coins have sold for thousands, maybe even more. But what makes them so special, and how can you spot them? Stay with me as we uncover the shocking details behind these rare errors and what they could be worth. In 1964, something fascinating happened in the world of U.S. coinage. Millions of nickels were minted that year, but hidden among them are rare, error-filled coins that could be worth an absolute fortune today. Some of these coins have sold for tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction. The question is, could you be holding one of these incredibly valuable 1964 nickels in your pocket change or old coin collection? Let's dive deep into what makes these coins so special and how you can identify one that might make you rich. First, let's talk about what sets the 1964 nickel apart. This was a time of economic turbulence, and a nationwide coin shortage led to an explosion in nickel production. More than 1 billion nickels were struck in Philadelphia and Denver, but mass production often leads to mistakes. And it's those mistakes, also known as errors, that have turned some of these coins into hidden treasures. One of the most sought-after errors in the 1964 nickel is the double die variety. This occurs when the coin's design is imprinted twice onto the metal, slightly misaligned. This doubling can often be seen in the letters of Liberty or In God We Trust, or in the date itself. A strong double die 1964 nickel can fetch thousands of dollars at auction, depending on its condition. If you have a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe, closely examine your 1964 nickels, you might just spot one of these valuable errors. Another incredibly rare and valuable version of the 1964 nickel is the full steps Jefferson nickel. The steps of Monticello on the reverse of the coin are notoriously difficult to strike fully. Most 1964 nickels appear with worn or incomplete steps due to overuse of the coin dies. However, if you find a 1964 nickel with all 6 steps fully struck and visible, you're looking at an extremely rare coin that could be worth thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars. Let's take a look at a real-life example. In recent years, a 1964 D Jefferson nickel with full steps in near-perfect condition was sold for over $30,000 at auction. Why so much? The rarity of finding a well-struck nickel from this time period is what drives the price up. Even slight imperfections can significantly reduce the value, but when a coin is preserved in pristine condition, collectors are willing to pay big money to own a piece of history. Beyond full steps and double die errors, there are other minting mistakes that make certain 1964 nickels extremely valuable. Off-center strikes are one of these. When a coin blank isn't properly aligned with the die, the final design is struck off-center, leaving parts of the coin blank. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes. Then there are die clashes, cuds, and repunched mint marks. A die clash occurs when the front and back dies strike each other without a coin in between, leaving ghostly impressions on the next coin struck. Cuds, on the other hand, happen when a piece of the die breaks off, creating a blob-like appearance on the coin. And repunched mint marks? Those happen when the D or other mint mark is punched multiple times in slightly different positions, creating a shadowed effect. All of these errors add value, and depending on their severity and rarity, they can be worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. Stories of incredible finds continue to surface. A man searching through old bank rolls stumbled upon multiple 1964 nickels with minor errors, but one stood out, an off-center struck nickel with a distinct doubled die feature. After sending it to a professional grading service, he was shocked to learn it was valued at over $15,000. The best part? These coins are still out there. Unlike older, rarer coins that have mostly been found and secured in private collections, the 1964 nickel remains a sleeper hit among collectors. Many of these coins are still in circulation, sitting unnoticed in jars, drawers, and bank rolls. And you don't need to be an expert to find one, just knowing what to look for puts you ahead of the game. So how do you verify whether your 1964 nickel is valuable? First, check its weight. A standard 1964 nickel should weigh exactly 5 grams. If it weighs significantly less, it could indicate a rare planchet error. Next, examine the coin under good lighting, preferably with magnification. Look for doubling on the letters and numbers. Inspect the Monticello steps. If they're clear and complete, you might have something special. And finally, if you suspect your coin is rare, consider getting it professionally graded. Services like PCGS and NGC can authenticate your coin and give it a certified grade, which significantly increases its market value. Now, let's talk about selling. If you do find a valuable 1964 nickel, where should you go to get the best price? While local coin shops and pawn shops might offer quick cash, they often undervalue coins to make a profit. The best way to sell a rare nickel is through major coin auction houses like heritage auctions or online platforms like eBay, where competitive bidding can drive up the price. Posting clear, high-resolution photos and a detailed description can make all the difference in attracting serious collectors. And if you're serious about finding valuable coins, consider becoming a coin roll hunter. Many people purchase rolls of nickels from banks and sort through them for rare finds. It's a fun and inexpensive way to treasure hunt, and as history has shown, some collectors have struck gold, or in this case, nickel. They say some treasures are hidden in plain sight, and when it comes to coins, this couldn't be truer. The 1972 Jefferson nickel might seem like an ordinary 5-cent piece, but some of these coins could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, or even more. If you have one in your pocket or tucked away in a coin jar, you could be sitting on a small fortune without even realizing it. At first glance, the 1972 nickel appears to be just another standard issue. Made from 75% copper and 25% nickel, it weighs 5 grams, with a diameter of 21.2 millimeters and a plain edge. It was minted in 3 different locations, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, with the Philadelphia version lacking a mint mark. While millions were produced, a select few stand out due to rare minting errors that dramatically increase their value. These errors occur during the minting process and can transform a seemingly ordinary nickel into an incredibly rare collector's item. One of the most sought-after errors is the doubled die obverse, where the design elements appear doubled due to a misalignment during striking. The doubling is most noticeable on Jefferson's face, the inscriptions, Liberty and, In God We Trust, and the date itself. Collectors are willing to pay top dollar for well-preserved examples, with some fetching thousands of dollars at auction. Another highly valuable error is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin is not properly aligned in the press, resulting in a misaligned design. Depending on the severity of the error, these coins can be worth anywhere from a few hundred to several $1,000s, especially if the date is still visible. The greater the off-center shift, the more valuable the coin tends to be. Die clashes and cracks also contribute to a coin's uniqueness. A die clash happens when the coin dies strike each other without a blank planchet in between, leaving behind ghostly impressions of the opposing design elements. Cracks, on the other hand, occur when a die develops fractures, causing raised lines or irregularities on the finished coin. These anomalies make each coin distinct, and some collectors are willing to pay a premium for well-defined clashes and cracks. Then there's the broad-struck error, where the coin is struck without the proper retaining collar, causing the edges to expand outward. This results in a wider, flatter appearance and makes the coin stand out significantly from a normal nickel. Since these errors are relatively rare, they can fetch impressive prices depending on their condition and the visibility of the details. Now, let's talk about authentication. If you suspect you have a valuable 1972 nickel, the first step is to examine it under magnification. Look for the telltale signs of doubling, misalignment, or irregularities in the lettering and design. Condition matters immensely. Coins in mint state or uncirculated condition are far more desirable than those that have been heavily circulated. To ensure authenticity and maximize value, consider professional grading services such as PCGS or NGC. These organizations evaluate coins based on their condition, assign a grade, and encapsulate them for preservation. A high-grade 1972 nickel with an error can see its value skyrocket at auction. Speaking of auctions, let's look at some real-world examples of 1972 nickels that have sold for staggering amounts. Some error nickels have fetched thousands, while a few exceptionally rare specimens have crossed into the six-figure range. Collectors and investors alike eagerly search for these hidden gems, hoping to discover the next great rarity. So, where can you find one of these valuable coins? The best places to search are everyday pocket change, coin rolls from banks, and even old collections inherited from relatives. Estate sales, flea markets, and garage sales can also yield surprising discoveries. Many valuable coins have been found in the most unexpected places, often overlooked by those unaware of their worth. If you happen to find a rare 1972 nickel, handling it properly is crucial. Avoid cleaning it, as this can significantly reduce its value. Store it in a protective holder or coin flip to prevent damage. And when it comes time to sell, research the best avenues, whether that's through an auction house, online marketplaces, or direct sales to collectors. The 1979 US nickel might seem like just another coin in your pocket, but what if I told you that some of these nickels could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, or even more? Hidden among everyday change and forgotten collections are rare error coins that make collectors and numismatists eager to get their hands on them. The trick is knowing exactly what to look for. At first glance, the 1979 nickel may appear ordinary. But beneath its unassuming exterior lie variations and minting errors that can turn it into a fortune. To understand why, let's start with the basics. The Jefferson nickel has been in circulation since 1938, featuring a profile of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his Monticello estate on the reverse. While millions were minted in 1979 across the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints, only a small fraction contain errors that make them highly valuable. One of the most sought-after errors is the off-center strike. This happens when a coin is struck improperly, causing part of the design to be missing. The more dramatic the misalignment, the higher its potential value. Some off-center 1979 nickels with a clear date and mint mark have fetched thousands of dollars at auction. If you ever come across a nickel where Jefferson's face is pushed to one side with a large blank area, hold on to it, it could be worth far more than 5 cents. Then there's the double die error, a favorite among collectors. This occurs when the coin's design is accidentally struck twice in slightly different positions, creating a doubling effect on certain elements like the inscriptions or Jefferson's profile. A strong double die on a 1979 nickel can dramatically increase its value, particularly if the doubling is obvious to the naked eye. Clipped planchets are another fascinating error. These result when the metal sheet used to create coin blanks is misaligned during cutting, leaving a distinctive curved or straight edge on the finished coin. While not as dramatic as some other errors, clipped planchets from 1979 can still be worth a substantial sum, especially when combined with other anomalies. One of the most visually striking errors is the die crack or cud. Over time, minting dies develop cracks from repeated use, leading to raised lines or blobs of metal on the coin's surface. A significant die crack across Jefferson's face or a large cud near the edge can transform an otherwise common 1979 nickel into a rare and highly valuable collector's item. Mint mark anomalies add another layer of intrigue. The repunched mint mark error occurs when the mint mark is struck multiple times, often slightly misaligned. This happened frequently in earlier years, but even in 1979, some nickels display traces of multiple impressions, making them rare finds. Collectors have shared thrilling stories of stumbling upon these valuable error coins. Some have discovered them in old rolls of nickels purchased from banks, while others found them hidden in inherited coin collections. One lucky individual uncovered a 1979 off-center nickel in their pocket change and later sold it for thousands, proving that treasures can be found in the most unexpected places. If you're serious about searching for valuable 1979 nickels, you'll need a few essential tools. They say some treasures are hidden in magnifying glass or coin microscope will help you spot doubling, repunched mint marks, the 1972 Jefferson nickel might seem
Proper
like an
lighting
ordinary
is
5-cent piece,
as certain
but
errors
some of these
are only
coins
visible
could be
under
worth hundreds of
specific
thousands
angles.
of dollars.
And
Or
if
even
you
more.
suspect you found something rare,
If you have one
getting
in your
your coin
pocket or
graded
tucked
by a
away in
professional
coin
service
jar,
like
you could be sitting on a
PCGS
small
or
fortune
NGC
without even
authenticate its
realizing
value
it, and potentially increase
At first
its
glance,
the 1972
now, let's
nickel
talk about
appears
the
to be
ultimate
just
prize,
another standard
the
issue.
rarest and most valuable
Made from
1979
75%
nickels.
copper and 25%
Some of the
nickel,
highest-selling
it weighs
specimens
5 grams,
include those
with
with
a
dramatic
diameter of
off-center strikes,
21.2
deep double
millimeters and a
dies,
plain edge,
and bold die cracks.
It was minted in 3
Coins in
different
pristine,
locations,
uncirculated
Philadelphia,
condition
Denver,
with these errors
and San
can command
Francisco,
staggering
with the
prices at
Philadelphia
auction.
version lacking a mint
In
mark.
some cases,
While
exceptionally
millions
rare
were produced,
1979
a select
nickels
few
have
stand
sold
out
for
due to
5
rare
or even
minting
6
errors
figures,
that dramatically
changing their
increase
owners'
their
lives
value.
overnight.
These errors
The best
occur
part,
during the minting process.
these
and
coins
can
are still
transform a
out
seemingly ordinary nickel
Whether
into
you're
an
searching for
incredibly
your
rare
pocket
collector's
change,
item.
visiting coin shops,
One of the
or
most
attending
sought-after
auctions,
errors is
the
the double
possibility of
die
discovering a rare
where the design
1979
elements appear
nickel
double
remains
due to
very
a
real.
misalignment.
The
during
1985
the thrill
US
of the
penny
hunt is what
the
it
doubling
makes
just
most
like
noticeable
noticeable
on
on
Jefferson's
Jefferson's
face.
face
Around
the
the
next
inscription
coin
remains
liberty
but
could
if
be
you've
the
ever
one
glanced
God
with
we
a more
trust
discerning
and the
eye,
date itself.
you might be
The next time
overlooking
you
some
come across
collectors
a
are willing to pay
$1979
thousands of
nickel
dollars.
for
Don't
well
dismiss
preserved
it
even
as
just
morals.
another piece
With
of
some
change.
fetching
The truth
thousands
is,
of dollars.
take
There
a
are
rare
also
1985 pennies
another
that have
because
higher
hidden
value
within
than
these
error
coins
is the
lies
off-center
potential
treasure
for
for
incredible value.
This occurs
And you
when
never
the
know.
coin
Most of us
is
are
not
might just
properly
be holding
aligned
onto
onto
a
a
small piece of
resulting
hidden
in
world
world
errors
errors
that
far
can
more than you
drastically
ever
impact
imagined.
depending on the
value.
severity of the error.
Stick
These
around,
coins can be
because
worth
by the end
anywhere
of this
from a
video,
few hundred to
you'll know
several
how to
thousand
spot
dollars,
these valuable
especially
errors,
if the
and
date
you might
is
just
still
find
visible.
yourself with a small fortune.
The greater
in
the
your
off-center shift, the
Let's
more
start by
valuable the
taking a
coin
quick
tends
look
to
at
be.
the specifications of
Die
a typical
clashes and cracks
1985
also
penny.
contribute to a coin's
These
uniqueness.
pennies were minted in a time when
A
the
die
U.S.
clash
government
happens
had
when the
already
coin
switched
dies
from
strike
heavier
each other
copper
without a blank
composition to a
planchet
mix
in
of copper
between,
and zinc,
leaving behind ghostly
the
impressions
penny
of the
weighs
opposing
2.5
design
grams
elements.
and has a diameter
Cracks,
of 19
on the other
millimeters.
hand, occur when a die
It features
develops
the familiar
fractures,
portrait
causing
of
raised
Abraham Lincoln
lines
on
or
the
irregularities
obverse,
on
with
the
the
finished
Union
coin.
shield on the reverse.
These anomalies make
that's
each
where the
coin
normalcy
distinct,
ends
and
for
some
most of these
collectors are
pennies.
willing to pay a premium
Some
for
of these
well-defined
coins are
clashes
far
and
from
cracks.
ordinary, and if you know what
Then
to look
there's the
for,
broad struck
they
error,
could be worth
where
a
the
lot
coin
more
is
than
struck
the one
without
cent
the
they were
proper
originally
retaining
intended
collar,
for,
causing the edges to
You
expand
see,
outward.
error coins are often
This results
overlooked
in
by
a
the
wider,
casual observer,
flatter appearance,
but for
and
those
makes
with
the
a
coin
keen
stand
eye,
out
they can be
significantly
gold
from a
mines.
normal nickel.
A penny from
Since these
1985
errors are
might
relatively
appear
rare,
ordinary at
they
first
can fetch
glance,
impressive
but
prices
certain mistakes
depending on
made
their
during the
condition
minting
and the
process
visibility
can create
of
a
the
unique
details.
and highly valuable error.
Now, let's talk about
Minting
authentication.
errors are relatively common
If
in
you
coins,
suspect you have a
but they
valuable
don't always get
1972
noticed,
nickel,
which is
the
why
first
many
step
collectors
is to
find
examine it
unexpected
under
treasures in their
magnification.
change jars or old
Look for the
coin
telltale
collections.
signs of doubling,
One of the
misalignment,
most exciting
or
types of
irregularities
errors
in
that
the
can
lettering
occur
and
is
design.
the repunched mint mark,
Condition
or RPM.
matters immensely.
This
Coins
is
in
where the
mint
mint
state
mark
or
on the coin,
uncirculated
the
condition
D
are
or
far
S
more
that
desirable than
indicates the
those
mint
that have been
location
heavily circulated.
is struck more than once,
To
creating
ensure
a doubled
authenticity and
appearance.
maximize value,
Imagine
consider
finding
professional
a
grading
1985
services
penny with
such
an
as
extra
PCGS
or
S
NGC
next to the mint mark.
These
That's an error
organizations
that can add
evaluate
significant
coins
value
based on their condition,
and because
assign
these
a grade,
errors are often
and
subtle,
encapsulate them
it's
for
not always
preservation.
easy to spot them
A
unless you know
high-grade
exactly what to look
1972
for.
nickel with an error.
So
can
how
see
do
its
you
value
identify a
skyrocket
repunched
at
mint
auction.
mark on a 1985
Speaking
penny?
of auctions, let's
The
look at
key
some
is to
real-world
examine the
examples
mint
of
mark
mark closely,
1972
preferably
nickels that have
under
sold for
magnification.
staggering amounts.
You're looking for
Some
signs
error
of a
nickels have
second
fetched
impression,
thousands,
which will
while
appear
a
as
few
a faint
exceptionally
shadow
rare
next to the
specimens
primary
have
mint
crossed
mark.
into the six-figure range.
With a little patience and
Collectors
a
and
magnifying
investors
glass,
alike
you'll be able to
eagerly
catch the
search for
double
these hidden
impression
gems,
that makes these
hoping
coins
to
so
discover
valuable.
the next great rarity.
But RPMs
So,
aren't the
where
only
can you
error
find
you
one
should
of
be
these
on the
valuable
lookout for.
coins?
Another
best
type of
places to
valuable
search
error
are
is the
everyday everyday
double
pocket
die
change, coin rolls
This
from banks,
occurs when the
and
coin
even
is
old
struck
collections
multiple times,
inherited from
resulting
relatives.
in a doubled image on
Estate
the coin's
sales,
features.
flea
It could be
markets,
the date,
and garage
the
sales
letters,
can
or
also
even
yield
parts of
surprising
Lincoln's face.
discoveries. In the
Many
case of the
valuable
1985
coins have been
penny,
found in the most
a double die
unexpected
error
places,
could make the
often
date appear
overlooked
thicker,
by those
or you might
unaware of their
notice a
worth.
doubling effect on the
If you
Liberty
happen to find a
inscription
rare
or the word
1972
"In God We
nickel,
Trust,"
handling it properly is
these
crucial.
coins are highly prized by
Avoid
collectors
cleaning it,
because of the
as this can
dramatic and easily
significantly reduce
noticeable
its
effect
value.
the error has on the coin's
Store
design.
it in a protective holder or
Spotting
coin
a double
flip
die
to prevent
error
damage.
takes a bit more skill,
And when
but
it
it's
comes time
definitely
to
worth
sell,
learning how to
research
identify
the best avenues,
whether
whether
that's
that's
through
through
an
examining
auction
the date
house,
carefully,
online marketplaces,
is there a
or
noticeable
direct sales to
separation between the
collectors.
two impressions?
A magnifying glass or loupe will be your best friend here, as it can help you see the doubled lines clearly. You can also look for additional doubling on the words around the edges of the coin. If you spot any, you could be holding a rare piece of numismatic history in your hand. Off-center strikes are another common error that can make a 1985 penny far more valuable. This occurs when the penny isn't perfectly aligned with the die during the minting process, resulting in a misaligned design. Off-center strikes can vary in severity. Sometimes it's just a slight shift, but other times the design may be so off-center that part of the coin's features are completely missing. The more extreme the misalignment, the higher the value, especially if the off-center strike is clearly visible and recognizable to collectors. Identifying an off-center strike is fairly straightforward. You'll want to check the coin for any signs that the design is not centered on the penny. Look closely at the edges of the coin and see if any part of the design is missing or cut off. This type of error is especially exciting because the more dramatic the shift, the rarer it is, which means it could fetch a higher price. But it doesn't stop there. There are also die cracks and cuts that can make a 1985 penny exceptionally rare. Die cracks occur when the die used to strike the coin cracks, leaving raised lines or fissures on the surface of the coin. Cuts are similar, but they happen when a portion of the die breaks off, leaving a lump or raised area on the coin. These errors are unique and can make a 1985 penny stand out from the rest. To spot die cracks, you'll want to inspect the surface of the coin for any raised lines or unusual features. The cracks can appear anywhere on the coin, but they're most commonly found on the edges of the design. Cuts are a bit more obvious, as they appear as lumps or raised areas on the coin's surface. If you find either of these errors on your 1985 penny, you could have a rare and valuable coin in your collection. Now, you may be wondering, are these types of error coins really worth anything? The answer is a resounding yes. In fact, some 1985 pennies have sold for incredible amounts at auction. For example, a double die 1985 penny can sell for thousands of dollars, depending on its condition and rarity. One famous case involved a 1985 penny with a double die error that sold for over $20,000. And if you have a 1985 penny with an RPM error, you could be looking at anywhere from $500 to $5,000 or more, depending on the quality of the error. It's not just professional collectors who stumble upon these valuable coins. There have been countless stories of everyday people discovering rare error coins in their spare change. Take the case of a man who bought a 1985 penny at a coin shop for just a few dollars, only to discover later that it was a double die error worth over $10,000. Or the woman who found an off-center 1985 penny in her grandmother's collection, which ended up being worth over $15,000. These kinds of discoveries happen more often than you might think, and they can turn an ordinary coin into a windfall. But how can you be sure if you found a rare 1985 penny? The best way to authenticate a potentially valuable error coin is to get it graded by a professional coin grading service, like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS. These organizations will carefully examine your coin and assign it a grade based on its condition. The higher the grade, the more valuable your coin will be. If your coin is graded highly and it has a rare error, you could be looking at a small fortune. It's also important to note that not all 1985 pennies with errors are created equal. A coin's condition plays a significant role in its value. A penny with a minor error in poor condition is worth less than a penny with a major error in excellent condition. That's why it's important to not only know how to spot these errors but also to understand how to preserve the condition of your coins. While some of the most valuable 1985 penny errors can fetch thousands of dollars, others are worth a bit less, but they still represent a significant find. Even if your coin doesn't end up being worth a small fortune, it's still a unique piece of numismatic history that could be worth more than the face value of 1 cent. So, the next time you're flipping through your change or sorting through your old pennies, take a closer look at those 1985 pennies. You might be holding onto a rare gem without even realizing it. With just a little knowledge and a bit of patience, you could unlock the hidden value of these seemingly ordinary coins. And who knows, you might just find yourself with a valuable piece of history in your hands. Keep searching, because you never know what treasure is waiting to be discovered.